All right, let's talk about something that is, no joke, one of the most fundamental skills for any Salesforce admin or developer: getting your environments right. It's the difference between a project that runs smoothly and one that's, well, a total disaster. So let's dive in and figure out how to build everything on solid ground.
Think about it for a second. Of course not, right? You'd never do that. You'd probably set the kitchen on fire, you'd have a bunch of angry customers, and yeah, you'd probably get fired. This is the exact reason Salesforce environments exist. They give you a safe kitchen to experiment in so that whatever you serve up in the main dining room, your live business, is absolutely perfect every single time.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about what your cloud workspace actually is. Then we'll get into this simple analogy, the showroom versus the workshop. That's going to change how you think about your projects. After that, we'll break down all the different tools you have, look at how to get your work from the workshop out to the showroom, and wrap up by figuring out which environment is perfect for whatever job you've got.
Okay, first things first. Let's define the fundamental building block of literally everything you do in Salesforce, your cloud workspace.
Now, the official term you'll see is an environment, but in the real world, you're almost always going to hear people call it an org. It's just short for organization. Just think of it as your own private, totally secure instance of the entire Salesforce platform, just for you, up in the cloud.
The best analogy I've ever heard for this is Gmail. I mean, think about it. When you sign up for Gmail, you get your own unique username, right? And you get a private inbox in the cloud that is completely separate from everyone else's. Well, a Salesforce org works the exact same way. It's your own private, unique little corner of the Salesforce universe.
And every single org out there, no matter what it's used for, has these three core things in common. It holds all your precious data and all your customizations. Its power and features are based on what's called an edition, and you get to all of it right from your web browser. Simple as that.
Okay, so we know what an environment is. Now for maybe the most important concept of all. Not all environments are created equal. We can basically split them into two main categories. You've got your showroom and you've got your workshop.
So on one hand, you have the showroom. This is your production org. It's pristine, it's what your customers see, and it's running your business with live, absolutely critical data. Making changes here is super high risk. But then you have the workshop. This is your development environment. This is where you get your hands dirty. You build new things. You test them out. It's totally safe to experiment and even break things here because it has zero impact on the live business.
And this is the key takeaway. While, yeah, you could technically make a tiny little change directly in the showroom, like maybe adding a new field, Salesforce is crystal clear on this. For any real building, for any kind of app development, you absolutely must be in the workshop. You don't cook in the dining room, right?
Okay, so we've all agreed we need a workshop. Great. But what kind of workshop? Salesforce actually gives us a few different flavors, so let's check out the tools we've got in our toolbox.
Your workshop really comes in two main flavors. The first is a developer edition org, which is totally free and completely separate from everything else. The second is something called a Sandbox, which is a direct copy of your showroom. And this choice between a totally blank slate or a perfect replica, well, that's a huge decision, and it all comes down to the job at hand.
Now, if we focus just on sandboxes, those copies of your production org, there are four main types you need to know about. It's best to think of them as specialized tools, each one designed for a very specific purpose.
Let's really break this down, because this is the heart of it all. A full sandbox is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like, a complete one-to-one replica of your showroom, and that includes all of your data. This is what you use for final, full-scale testing. Then you have partial copy. This gives you all the customizations, but just a sample of the data. It's awesome for quality assurance and integration testing. And then we get to the Developer Pro and the regular developer sandboxes. These guys only copy your customizations, no production data at all. They're your day-to-day workshops for coding and building. The main difference between them really just comes down to storage, which tells you how much test data you can create.
So we've picked our workshop. We've built something incredible. Now, how do we get it safely from our messy workshop into the shiny showroom for our customers to actually use? Well, that's where the application lifecycle comes in.
You would never just take something from the workshop floor and stick it straight in the showroom window. No way. There is a super important middle step, a dedicated testing environment. This is where you do all your quality control, your integration tests, and, this is huge, get real users to try it out without messing with the live business.
So the path to production, the right way to do it, follows three very clear steps. Step 1, you build.
You do this in your workshop, like a developer's sandbox. Step 2, you test. You do this in a much more realistic environment, like a partial or a full sandbox that has realish data. And only when it passes every single test do you move to step 3. You deploy to production your live showroom. Build, test, deploy. That's the mantra you need to remember.
So how does this all work in the real world? Let's make this practical and match the right tool to the task by just walking through a few really common scenarios.
Okay, scenario number 1. You're brand new to this, you're curious, you just want to start building something on the platform, and you don't want to pay a single dime. What's the move?
Oh, this is an easy one. The answer is a Developer Edition org. It's completely free, it has all the features, and you can spin up as many of them as you want. Seriously, it is the perfect, zero-risk place for anyone to start.
All right, next up. Let's say you already have a Salesforce org. You know, a showroom that's up and running your business, and now you want to build a brand new app just for that org.
So you've got two great options here. You could start in a totally separate Developer Edition org, just to quickly mock up the basic idea. Or, and this is usually the better choice, you can create a sandbox from your production org. A sandbox is often the way to go because it perfectly mirrors the customizations you already have, which guarantees your new app will be compatible from day one.
And for our last scenario, let's say you're a partner, an ISV. You're not just building for yourself anymore. You're building a commercial application that you're going to sell to other people on the App Exchange.
Partners can definitely start with standard Developer Edition org, but they also get access to something special, the Partner Developer Edition. It's still free for partners, but it's like a supercharged version. It comes with way more data storage and a lot more user licenses, which is absolutely essential when you're building and testing a complex app that you plan to sell.
So there you have it. You now understand the huge difference between the showroom and the workshop, and you know exactly which tools to use for which job. The foundation is set. But, that just leads to the next big question, doesn't it? Having the right environment is one thing, but is the process you use to get from an idea to production truly agile enough to make the most of it? That's probably a topic for another day.